The social media personal finance community, or personal finance community in general, is so toxic. Let's talk about it. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I want to talk about something that I've longed to talk about. So as a content creator, which I've been for 5 years, I create content based on a few different topics, and I assume that when I'm creating this content, I am attracting a certain audience and certain audience members or viewers from specific communities. That is obviously the personal finance community, the social work community, and the planning and organizing community. And those are the communities with which I relate to. So even if I never posted a piece of content ever again, when I view content, those are probably going to be the types of people that I would follow. And so for years, I've always had this idea that I would create videos regarding each of those different communities and talk about the things that I don't really care for, because why not? So as a content creator and as a viewer, I feel like it's the best of both worlds, and I can just get on here and talk about all the different things, and it's perfectly fine. So the reason why I haven't necessarily done it is because I don't care to come off as a hater or to come off as a person who has an opinion, because I don't know, maybe some things I do hate on. I do have strong opinions about things, but I never want to come on here and come off as if I am bashing someone else or a particular community or product or something or someone for the sake of getting some views, because in this world and in this space of social media, views equal money. And so I don't want to come on here acting as if I'm sharing a strong opinion for the sake of getting some views and getting some money just for being controversial. That's not my vibe, because I see people do that all the time, and I don't want that to be me. But I have a few things to say. So let me give you a 3-minute maybe recap of my life and where I've come from. So first of all, I grew up in poverty. I once had a 2-parent household where I lived in the home with my biological mother and father until I was about 5 or 6, and my father passed away from a medical condition, which left us being a single income family and my mother to raise 3 children independently, and that would go on for the duration of my life. Immediately at 5 or 6 or whenever my dad passed away, I began to experience the effects of a single income household, and it was the struggle. And I decided at an early age that I did not want to live a life. If I had any ability to go on to do something, anything that would prevent me from stressing about money and about paying the electric bill and the water and the rent and taking care of my family, then I would do just that. Now, luckily, I was always a scholar. Now, I was just a natural scholar. I'm not saying I was a freaking genius, but what I'm saying is that I went to school, I paid attention, I asked questions, I completed my work, and I got A's and B's. I did not have tutors. I did not have study partners. I did not, link up with other people to kind of see. I just kind of went to school, and I had friends, but really I just went to school to learn, which is kind of what I do now when I go to work. I just go to work to do my work. But I just went, I did what I had to do, and I left. And I wasn't into homework. I'm still not. I wasn't into going on to be valedictorian. None of that really mattered to me. I just wanted to get A's and B's in decent grades, which I did. So luckily, when you're smart and poor, you unlock, it's the cheat code to life. And so you unlock some resources, especially when it comes to college. So I went to college with grants and scholarships and all the things. And I actually graduated from undergrad with very little student loan debt. It was grad school that got me, because I had to work. I've always had to work. I've always had to work and pay bills. I've been paying rent since my second year. No, after my second year of college, I moved into an apartment with the notion that it would be cheaper than room and board if I split the apartment with multiple people, which I did. So my rent was like $400, my portion. So I was under the impression that if I did that, it would be cheaper, which, like I said, it was, I guess. I don't know. I never really did the math, but I feel like paying $450 was much cheaper than room and board, and then buying groceries and splitting them too was much cheaper than living on campus. But that's kind of what I did, and I've been paying rent independently. Not independently, I have a husband now and we pay bills together, but I've been paying rent as an adult since my third year of college. Actually, kind of like my second year, because I feel like I moved in my sophomore year. But anyway, I've had to work to pay my bills, to buy food, and to do all the things. I also realized early on that money was a tool or a resource that one could acquire however they could, to access further resources. So I've never really cared too much about money. I like having it, obviously. I get to do things. We can pay our mortgage, we can pay our electricity, our water, take care of ourselves, buy high quality fresh produce and all the things, and we get to do some fun things with our money. But really, money is just a tool or a resource that helps people to unlock other tools or resources. So money is but a tool or a resource. And I've never had any emotional attachment to money because I don't care about money that much. Easier said than done when you have a sufficient income where you can pay your bills and all of that. I realize that. But the fact of the matter is, when I was poor, and I had a bill coming up, like when had to start paying my car insurance, as an example, when I got my first car in college. And I was working and stuff, but if I didn't have the money for it, then I just didn't have the money for it. It wasn't really that big of a deal. I was not stressed even when poor about money, and I'm not stressed now about money. So now my husband and I are in the middle class. We both work in public education. We would be middle class and six-figure earners without YouTube, but I do earn a decent amount from YouTube and social media, but it's not as much as I do at my full-time job, which is so funny when people ask me, would I quit my full-time job to pursue content creation full-time? And I'm like, I get the sentiment, and I get that I could take a chance on myself, and if I have more time in the day, I may be able to create more content, have more opportunities, get more views, maybe because I'm creating higher quality content and all the things. But the fact of the matter is, there's never come a year where I've earned significantly more than I did at my full-time job. So therefore, to me, it doesn't make logical sense. I would view it as hustling backwards, in fact. But it's always funny when people ask me that. And I know why, because people know that creating social media content is very lucrative. People know that creating finance content in particular is very lucrative. And maybe they don't know that I share every year how much I earn from social media every year, but I do. And I get it. It's about the equivalent, let's say, but it's still not significantly more. And so therefore it just doesn't make sense to me. So anyway, let's talk about my issues. One of my issues with the personal finance community is the lack of empathy. And when I say lack of empathy, I mean kind of like, student loan debt forgiveness could potentially be upon us. And a lot of people may benefit from that. Now, people who are not a part of the personal finance community are in an uproar, but there are people who are a part of the finance community who are in an uproar. And it's just weird to me how the world works. I'm for a democracy. I feel like it is our responsibilities as people to want and to help other people to advance and to get ahead. And so when people don't do that, it's a little weird for me, I'm not gonna lie, but especially in the personal finance community. It doesn't matter. Why does it matter? If people can get their loans forgiven, the people who have qualified and applied, who are not rich, obviously, does it really matter? No, who cares? Let them get debt relief. That's one of my issues. My other issue is that, along the same line, is that people who are personal finance creators will often go on to earn a lot of money by creating personal finance content, and they will do a lot of cool things with their money, like pay off a lot of debt, save a bunch of money, invest a bunch of money, and all the things. And then they'll go on to sell courses and a bunch of stuff and, essentially make money off of the backs of their viewers, which is what social media content is. So I don't fault personal finance creators for that. But the fact of the matter is, like, sis, you are, you know, you have $100,000 invested because you made $100,000 from social media content creation last year. You know, like, you are in this position that you're in because of the work that you do, which is very lucrative, which sure, everybody could get a piece of it, I guess. But, you know, some people are not into social media and creating content. But that's just weird for me. It's almost as if, I'm not saying people become unrelatable because they earn a bunch of money, but it's kind of weird for me. It's kind of cringy to me when millionaires and people who earn six-figure salaries just by themselves in any given month from creating content, creating, you know, a few reels or whatever they're doing, go on to do cool things with their money and then act like everyone else can easily do that too. That's weird for me. Similarly, what is also weird for me is when people who are high earners say the same thing. Maybe they're not in the personal finance community. Maybe they're in tech or they're an engineer and they earn a bunch of money. And so they act like everyone else should easily be able to do the same thing. It's weird for me because it's like, have you looked at the statistics for the amount of men or black men or just different groups of people and how much they earn and what percentage earns a six-figure salary, or what percentage of, you know, like, have you looked up the statistics on that? Because basically more people are poor than people who are rich or have a bunch of money. So the fact of the matter is, however you got to wherever you got, whatever resources you had to get you to where you are probably not the same resources that another person has, and they're probably in a position and earning less, as an example, because of the resources that they had or didn't have that were available to them. And then that's just their story. So not everybody has an equal opportunity, is what I'm trying to say, to invest $10,000 a month or grow their investments in a course of a year by $100,000, or for their net worth to increase each month by $5,000. Not everyone is in that position. I realize that I'm in a good position and we make decent money. We're not rich. We don't even make more than, I don't know the last time. Sometimes there are some months with or without social media that have been really good for us. But then most of the months we are going to earn far less than $10,000. I was going to say we haven't even earned $10,000 and I don't know how long. But even still, like, it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is that not everyone is going to be able to do that. And I feel like we would do better as a whole, as a community, as personal finance creators, even some of those real famous personal finance creators, them too. We would all do better to recognize that not everyone can go work multiple jobs. Who wants to do that? That sounds like the worst way to live. I literally don't like going to work. We all know this. But not everybody can go work multiple jobs to earn more money. Not everybody can go and, sell everything in their home to earn more money. Some people just have the basics in their home. Some people are already working as much as they can and their income just isn't there. Sure, there are people who can cut back on their spending. I'm sure. I remember back in the day, we were in the throes of meeting some financial goal and I wasn't getting my nails done, which these are press-ons anyway, but I wasn't getting my nails done. And I remember never talking about how people should not get their nails done, but people feeling personally attacked in the comments and saying like, nope, like I would say, well, right now my nails aren't done because that's just one sacrifice I'm making to put us ahead financially. And people would be like, nope, not me. I've seen my hands without nails, not doing it. And I'm like, well, I never suggested that anyone do that. I just said that's the sacrifice that I'm currently making. But anyway, we would all do well to not assume that everyone else can just go get an extra job or sell all of their things or whatever it is. If everybody could easily do that because they had access to the same resources, then we would all be in great positions. Literally everyone would have a decent income. Everyone would be college educated, if that's the key to life. I don't know. Seemed like to be a decent key to my life, because I definitely wouldn't be where I am without having gone to college. Not every, you get the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that not everyone has access to the same opportunities. And some people unlock even more opportunities creating content in this space, and they kind of forget that, everybody just says it's hard work. You can create content too, or I am here earning $300,000 a year as a content creator because I have been working hard and all the things. And it's just like, we're not going to get into it, but it would behoove everyone to realize that not everyone has access to the same resources and will go on to do the same things with their money. Money also comes, when we talk about money, we also have to consider values. One value that my husband and I have is not buying clothes and shoes and buying tangible things, but really spending our money on experiences. And if we can do a new experience and tap in some of our friends and family members, and they can do it too, kind of like our wine tasting party that we had the other month when we brought in a wine connoisseur, chef's kiss, and we had friends and family over. So fun. But that's one of our values. Our values is spending time with our friends and family members and having experiences. Some people, they don't donate money or give money. They don't donate their time to help anyone out. They don't leave the house, really. They don't go send money to their family members in jail or some of the other things. Like, that's not something that they're doing or willing to do or want to do with their money. And that's perfectly fine, because we all have different values and shouldn't be judged for it. But we value time with friends and family members, because at the end of the day, that's pretty much the only thing that matters, is being around people who you love and who love you back, because that's what life is about, if you ask me. Because money and earning money and doing all of that, it's just not for me. So anyway, I really hate that, the minimum seems to be to become debt-free and to invest and save, and people act like investing is such an easy thing to do. I remember when my husband and I were in the throes of paying off his student loan debt, and we were about to make a payment. I think this was like a $3,000 payment, and we were doing it online just as like a fun thing. And I remember somebody asking in the comments, or we put it online, asking in the comments why we were nervous, because I was literally so nervous. And I'm thinking, well, we're middle class, we're not rich, making the $3,000. I mean, this was probably like the fourth or fifth payment we were putting towards his debt, but still, it didn't get any easier relinquishing $3,000 to student loans. And so I feel like everybody acts like investing's so easy and everybody should be able to save and pay down their debt, and that there are accolades to be awarded upon paying off one's debt, and everybody should be able to do it. Everybody should be able to pay off their debt. Everybody should be able to save money, sacrifice everything to save money. Everybody should be able to invest. Investing is easy. All you have to do is this and that, and it takes 5 minutes to create a Roth IRA account and all the things. And it's just like, yes, those are the facts. So that's true. I wholeheartedly know that to open a Roth IRA account, it takes 5 minutes, like 2 seconds. However, most people live paycheck to paycheck. They don't even have a $1,000 emergency fund. They don't have equal access to resources. And so lots of people are not thinking about opening a Roth IRA. Lots of people are not thinking about these things. I just feel like it's one thing to educate and even to inspire. It's another thing to critique or to ridicule. If you didn't go to Starbucks every day, you could save $1,000 per month. It could be true. It could be true that there is somebody out there spending $1,000 at Starbucks, or they're spending a lot of money at Starbucks. These things can be true, but for the most part, skipping Starbucks once a week is not going to equate to financial freedom. Turning off your electricity, your lights every time you come out of a room is not going to equate to being able to invest $1,000 per month. Doing all of these minor basic things these things are not going to equate to financial freedom or one becoming wealthy and rich. They're just not. And so I really don't like when people try to critique or ridicule some people's simple pleasures and act like as if they were to remove those things that they could get ahead financially. Some people could, I'm sure, but still, some people still aren't earning the same amount of money that the people who are saying those things are earning. Those are just the facts of the matter. And so you just kind of have to watch who you're following in the personal finance space, myself included. Like you need to watch me and be mindful of that when it comes to me, any of those things when it comes to me. If ever I'm sharing something that makes you feel icky, first of all, my apologies. Second of all, do what you want to do, which is why I always try to say personal finances are personal. This is just what we do with the money that we earn each month. I am not trying to get somebody to do the exact same thing with their money because their values are going to be different. They may not have the same resources. They may not have the same income, which is a resource. Their lifestyles may be completely different. So this is just what I'm doing and how I'm spending my money. And I have no shame about it. So that has always been my messaging. So I doubt I've ever made anyone feel offended. But still, if I have, then know that these are my values. And that we may not have equal access, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And we're different, and personal finances are personal. So there's that. But also, as a viewer, I have to be mindful of what content I am taking in, especially when I think about like frugal hacks. I don't know how people are grocery shopping and spending $20 a week to feed their family. I do remember a time where my husband and I really tried to be cheap with our food, and we were just eating trash food, and that's not the lifestyle that I want to live, because health is wealth. And so I thoroughly enjoy the expensive products that we buy. They cost so much money. It's ridiculous how much eggs are, and strawberries and fresh produce, and some of the low carb, sugar-free options that we create. You know, I complain pretty much daily or every chance that I get about why the little cheap bread is $1, but then the same bread, it's not a cheap bread, it's bread that I pay for that's low sugar or no sugar or something. It's just better when you look at the ingredients, higher quality rather, I should say. And it's like $5. And I'm just like, how is bread? Like, there's no way that to make this great value bread for $1 is that much more, the process to make that bread is that much less. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just saying that there are varying prices of bread and foods, and we typically opt for the higher quality foods. But when people talk about frugal hacks and frugal living, I pretty much automatically tap out. I also don't like doing things for myself. I will not clean my own car. Absolutely not. I don't care how much money it's going to save me. I'm going through the drive-thru, and I have a white car, and I'm only going to go like twice per year, but I don't want to do that. Because why? My time is valuable, and I don't want to do those types of things. There are things that I'm not going to ever, doing my own hair, I hate it. I'm going to get my hair done. So some of the frugal hacks just go right above my head, and I don't even consume some of them anyway, because I just can't. So you have to just be mindful of the content that you're taking in, and understand that some personal finance information is never going to resonate with you, and is never going to even really matter to you, because you may not have equal access to whatever opportunities. You may never pay off $50,000 of debt in 1 year because your income won't allow you to do so. There are things that you'll never be able to do when it comes to finances, because it's just, you just don't have equal access to whatever that is, whether it's income, money, clean neighborhoods, or certain neighborhoods and things like that. It's just the fact of the matter. So you just have to be mindful. One thing that I was thinking of, you know, social media has become, I don't plan to edit this video. I wonder how many times I've said or you know. We'll never know because I'm not editing it. But one thing that I was thinking about is that how many people have dropped out of college to pursue content creation, and how many people are basically creating content. It is wild to me how many people are creating content. On the one hand, I love that people who are real creatives get to be creative and get paid for it. But on the other hand, I'm like, sometimes I'm watching social or looking at social media, which I don't do that often, interestingly enough, and I'm just like, this kid is 18, living in downtown LA, living their best lives, earning $500,000 a year from YouTube. And then we have people like nurses or doctors and folks whose lifestyles look completely different. They're earning less. It's just wild. It's wild the times that we're living in. It's a lot of content out there on social media. A lot of content circling around, particularly personal finance content. And you just have to be mindful of what you're taking in. So I don't know who needed to hear this video. I don't know if anyone needed to hear what I just said, but if you made it to the end of this video, you're a real one. I'm basically waiting for this thing to cut me off. I think it cuts off at like, oh, it's at 26 minutes. Maybe it cuts off at like 27. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and if you're liking what you're seeing, and I will catch you guys right back here in a few days in a brand new video. Bye guys.